January 7th, 2025, who is Kahlia Robertson. And then I would like for you to take us on a journey down memory lane and talk to us about when real life trauma entered your life. Tell us as much as you're comfortable sharing and be as transparent as you're comfortable being. And just take us on that journey of when real life trauma entered your life and how you got through it. Because the woman that I'm looking at right now, listen, and when y'all meet her in person one day, if you ever meet her in person one day, she is this big ball of life with the sexiest, raspy voice that you're going to ever hear. She probably can sing too. Usually women with them kind of voices can sing. I don't know if she can sing, but she probably can. We're not singing tonight. What we are going to do tonight is take you on a journey of Kahlia's real life trauma to triumph. So Kahlia, I'm going to turn it over to you. Let people know who you are, and then take us down memory lane.
So, first of all, I just want to say thank you for this platform. I know I kind of bailed out the first time. Y'all, I was supposed to have been on here.
I wasn't going to snitch on you.
It's okay. But, you know, things just happen, right? So,
Yes.
my name is Kahlia Robertson. I was born in Washington, D.C. I was raised in Montgomery County, however, I came from a two-parent household, and I had a brother that was 7 years older than me. He is now deceased. Um, he died at a very young age, 41, and it was just him and I. I only had one sibling, and so and I have a son who is 22. He lives in New York, and but we're gonna get to that.
Okay.
That's part. And so I first want to say that this is a great platform for
Thank you.
whoever feels it in their spirit to be able to share their life experience or whatever whatever it is that's laid on their heart to share.
Right.
So at 16, I'm gonna just leave out with these. I'm gonna give y'all these two numbers: 16 to 45. Right? Y'all keep those numbers.
Keep those numbers in your mind. 1645.
16 to 45. Right? And if y'all play numbers, play that number. Okay. So at 16, y'all looking at me like my story is probably gonna be unbelievable to you. A lot of people don't believe it when I tell it, but it is what it is. So at 16, I had started this wildlife, right? I started so let me go here. Y'all know that everybody has like influence in their life, right? And most of us women, we are influenced most of the time by men, right? And so men meaning like your boyfriend or your husband or whatever, right? And in that era, most of us were influenced by men. And my brother, right? And
was he older or younger?
He was 7 years older than me.
Okay.
And so he is not to blame for the choices I made, but I was influenced by him in a lot of areas, right?
Were y'all close?
We were very close.
Okay.
Very close. So my parents worked, and my brother basically raised me.
Okay.
Right. So when he was in the street, so was I.
Yeah.
Right. So I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot of good things, and I learned a lot of bad things from him. Right. And so my brother was in that era. He was heavy in the streets.
Okay.
And so I saw a lot. Right. This man had everything. If he had a black sweatshirt, he had a red one, an orange one, a yellow one. Everything that was out then, all the Sergio Tachinis, all the Jordache, all the Timberlands, whatever there was, Coca-Cola, Gazelles. I'm telling my age, but he, you know, he had all that stuff, right? And so, y'all, I would wear this boy stuff to school and come home and act like, yeah, I told you I went to schools in Montgomery County, right? So my parents never thought that I was doing the things I was doing. But so I would go in his room, wear his stuff to school, come home, put it back.
Did they
right?
know what he was doing? Your
Um,
parents, did they know what he was doing in the
not
streets?
really at that point. At that point,
Okay.
because we were kind of young,
Okay.
right? 16, so 17, 19, 21. He may have been 22, somewhere around there, right? And so, uh, I would wear his stuff to school, put it back, do my homework, and you know he would come in the house. You you know when somebody been in your stuff, right? So you know he would be like, "Mom, Kahlia been in my clothes or whatever," and I just would be like, "What are you talking about?" So, you know, fast forward, I started my own life,
Right.
right? So, at 16, I started going to jail, right? Because I was boosting, I was doing it all,
Going.
right. If anybody
Right.
knows me, they know I was the biggest booster out here in the
Mm-hmm.
DMV, right? And so, you know, I worked at it was called People Drugstore then, but every
Remember
day I
People's
worked.
Drugstore?
Yes, girl. Yes, child. I ran that lottery machine.
Okay, so okay, we going back People's Drugstore days. So you started boosting and doing stuff in the streets that you ain't had no business doing at 16?
At 16,
Okay.
very young. 16, I caught my first charge,
Okay.
and you know, and at that age, they slapping you on the wrist. You're not really getting in no trouble. You know, at that age, you could tell your parents it wasn't me, it was her. You know, all that kind of good
Is that what
stuff.
you
And so
did?
that's
You
what I did,
told your parents wasn't me.
of course.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, time went on. It was 16, then it was 18. Then you go for a stretch, and it might be 22. And um, I want to say this: they guys have asked me, like the ones I feel comfortable with talking to about my lifestyle, right?
Mm-hmm.
They might say, "Well, how much time did you do in total, right?" And you know, you meet guys, and they might have done. I'm gonna just say 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they do the 10, they do the stretch, they come home, they get a job, get their life together. And some people never look back, right? They learn from their mistakes and they all good. Guys, women, whoever, right? And so I tell people, well, you know, the most time I've done is 2 years at one time, right?
Okay.
But from 16 to 45, I have been in and out, right? And so, you know, people think like,
So that's the significance of those
like,
two numbers.
say it again.
That's the significance of the two numbers from age 16 to
To
age
45.
45. You were in and out, in and out, in
Yes.
and out.
Mm-hmm. And so to most people, that's not nothing, right? But that's traumatizing, right?
Absolutely.
At the end of the day. But when you're going through it, it's like, okay, I done did 18 months. Okay, I done did 2 years. And when I was living that lifestyle, it was cute, I thought, right? Because you go in, you figure out a way to do it different next time. You come home, and up until 28, I didn't have any kids,
Okay. So it was
right?
just you.
It was just
So
me.
stop for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
16 is the first time you caught your first charge. So,
Mm-hmm.
so at some point, what are your parents saying to you?
At 16 or just
At
period?
period.
Um, my father, okay, so my mom is from North Uptown. My father was from Southeast, right?
Mm-hmm.
My mom is like green. So she really didn't believe it.
She didn't.
Not really. Not really. But because I could tell her, I could be like, well, mom, you know, she was one of those ones, you in the wrong place, you in the wrong place at the wrong time. And, you know,
Uh-huh.
she was one of those. But my father always knew better.
He knew
He
better.
always knew better. So he was one of the ones like, you change your grades. My mother would go for it, but he was not like, nah, this is a D. This is a D. This is a D. She changed it to a B.
Mm-hmm.
That happened in real life in my house,
Mm-hmm.
right? So Um, you know, I remember being locked up, and my dad would say, "Leave her ass there, let her learn."
Did they leave you there?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Never.
Okay.
Right? But
Your mother
but
was
that was
always
because
making sure.
my mom wasn't having
Okay.
that. But my father,
Okay.
he would do. He was, if it was up to him, I would stay there.
How do you
So,
feel about that? Or how did you feel about that?
I ain't feel no way because I knew I was coming home.
And so all of those times you started feeling like, I'm just asking, I don't give a fuck. If I go back, I go back. I'm still going to do what I want to do. Is that what it was?
Well, no, it was more of when you're there, you always think of how you can do things different when you come home,
Mm-hmm.
and you always, it's like, um, you play the story back in your mind of what transpired that day, and you're like, oh, if this person wouldn't have been there today, because as I was doing this stuff, I know the people just like they knew me, right? I know who works on what day, I know who come in at what hour,
Right.
I know what store I'm going
Right.
to at what time and on what day, right?
Right.
And so you like, oh, if so and so wasn't there, I would have been straight, or if this dude
So you were
wasn't on the
okay.
register looking, I was good. Like I had mastered that thing, and that's something about me that's a gift and a curse, right? If I learn something, I got it.
You
Once I
got it.
got it, I got it, right? And it don't take me long. And so it's more of that. It's more of a, how can you do it different when you, the next time?
Right.
And
That's what I mean. So
so
your time away wasn't, it didn't deter you because you were thinking like, how am I gonna do it differently next time?
yeah, there's that piece, right? But then there's also the thing of how much money I was making. I was making so much money, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was like I was a drug dealer.
So it's almost like a drug deal, right? I was going to say
Oh,
it's
for
like
sure.
how drug dealers,
Sure.
like when they get out, it's like it's hard to not. I get it.
Once you create a thing and once you build a lifestyle, I don't care if it's good or bad, and it becomes like part of you.
Yep.
You like embody it.
Part of what you do.
And also it's an addiction,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so I'm like one of those people. I'm still this way, but just on a different level, right? If I see something that I want, I'm going to get it, right? And that's how I was. If I saw an outfit and I didn't get it that day,
You was
oh, I
going
was up
to.
the next morning at the door when the door's open
Mm-hmm.
to get it,
To get it.
right? And so all that's traumatizing.
Right.
Now
So
though, now
so go right.
it
All of
wasn't
that is
then.
traumatizing. But it wasn't then when you was
No.
in it. Because you know why? Here's my perspective on something like that. The enemy was talking to you. He was telling you every time that he would give you another way to get it, he would give you another way to skin a cat. And we're human, right? And so until something like hits us or we hit rock bottom or something life changes happens and we really realize that that's the enemy driving me to do those things,
Mm-hmm.
we keep going
Yeah.
because we don't know that that's him telling us to do that. You don't know it when you're in it,
Exactly.
you know.
That's very true.
And so Kahlia, I know a lot of people are probably wondering, like, so at no point did your parents be like, this is it, you can't come back here?
Well,
At
no, because
no
I didn't leave home. Girl, I was gone at 21.
okay.
I wasn't living home. When I was 16 to like 20 though, I used to I used to get I would go to the mall, right? Get my stuff and take it to my best friend's house. That's what I used to do. I wasn't even bringing stuff home no more. I
Mm-hmm.
remember one time I would go in Hex and get all their uh, perfume samples. The back in the day, the perfume, the samples were bottles of
Well,
perfume.
bottles, right out on the thing.
I would be in Hacks, Woody's, all them stores and come home with all
and
of
just
them.
get them.
Right. And one night, we used to eat dinner together every night, right? So one night, my dad came to the table, and he had been all in my room. I told you my father knew everything. And he came to the table with a bottle of the perfume, child. And it had the tester thing on the bottom of it. That's when I said, oh, my father, I used to get punished for months. When I say months, I'm talking about months, like 6 and 7 at a time, and couldn't go outside, couldn't nothing. So he saw the bottle, and he was like, asking me questions about it, and I'm lying or whatever, saying I don't know, whatever. And so in that moment, I stopped bringing stuff in the house.
You stopped.
I stopped. I used to take the stuff to my girlfriend's house.
And now you said you had an older brother. Did your older brother ever say, like, what the hell are you doing?
No.
No.
Never. Because another thing too, I heard a lot from him. Like, he was well known, well respected in the streets, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember I would be getting stuff, and I like, if his friends would call me for stuff, I never would do nothing for them because I never wanted him to find out. He was like my dad. Like, I would be sneaking in the go-go's and telling people, if you see my brother here, let me know. I'm in and out and get my little shake on a little bit, and I'm back out the door, right? Because he was like that. I was his little sister. So, at a point though, when I got a little older, and I remember getting locked up one time, and I was there for a minute, like about 18 months. Mm-hmm. Him, my mom, my dad, all of them came to see me and whatever. And, I could just see the disappointment on all their face. And at this time now, he done changed his whole life. He's married, kids. Oh, wow. He's not in the street no more.
Okay.
So now I'm the bad sheep, right? And so, but none of that deterred me. None of that. I did not change, and I'm not even gonna say changed. I did not stop until I was 45.
So, okay, from 16 to 45, you in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. And so, again, for people who don't know how that kind of stuff works, so the courts never got fed up with your ass either, girl. It was just like, this time you staying here for whatever. You ain't going home. It don't work like that?
Well, it does, but it depends on your defense. Your attorneys.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
That's my problem. Like, I never did a long enough time for me to see that.
I see.
Right. And so, I'll fast forward a little bit. At 28, when I had my son, I still was going. When I found out I was pregnant, I went even crazier. By the time I had a baby shower, he had everything already.
But again, you're addicted to that lifestyle at this point. So you were like, oh, I got to amp it up now because I got an extra person.
In a terrible way. So I moved. I had a 1-bedroom apartment at the time. I moved, got me a 2-bedroom. Most people, they gonna thug it out with their child in a 1-bedroom. You're good, especially back then. Child, I moved, got me a 2-bedroom. I bought a new car. By the time I had the baby shower, the boy had everything imaginable, right? The top flight car seat, just everything, right? And whatever I couldn't boost, right? I could buy because I was boosting and selling. Right. To all the big boys.
Right.
Back then you could go pop your hood. They not robbing girls and stuff back then. Wow. You was good. I was in every hood with everything they wanted. Right. Wow. And I'm kind of cute. So,
right.
Went, you know what I'm saying? Like, hand in hand, I was good.
Get them to get anything from you.
And I grew up in Montgomery County, but I never hung in that area. I never had a boyfriend from Montgomery County. I always was caught over here in Langston Lane and Good Hope Road, and my father was from Minnesota Avenue. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I was just all wrong. All wrong.
So let me ask you this, woman to woman, what do you feel like, and when you look back over your life, is there something that you feel like would have made you not do that? Like at 16, so like the very first time you did it. Do you feel like there's something in your childhood or in your when you were a teenager that made you have these desires to be like, I'm gonna go do this? I know you said your older brother was an influence. The boys, the boys from those times, I'm sure, them teenage boys were influences that were already out there. But do you feel like was there anything that your parents could have done that would have changed you from wanting to do that? Like, what could we have done differently,
I
or
def-
nothing?
my mom used to always ask that question, but I really don't. Okay, so a lot of people have a story of like like as I was locked up, I met a lot of people from a lot of different walks of life, right?
Mhm.
And a lot of women have stories of like abuse or physical abuse, mental abuse,
Right.
drug abuse. I don't come from none of that, so that's why a lot of times when I was getting locked up, the judges really weren't playing with me because I remember the first like I may have been 18 or 19. Listen, I was locked up pregnant.
You were.
And I remember going to court, and my mom had church, all type of people in the courtroom, and the judge said that she doesn't have no excuses.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I never really understood the psychology behind that type of stuff, right? Where you would see the girls on drugs or the dudes on drugs, they coming in and out while you sitting in the jail.
Mm-hmm.
They like a revolving door. They getting all types of passes, right? But it's because maybe they don't have the upbringing that I had. They don't
Right.
have the background that I had. They don't have the support, right? So when you walk in that courtroom with all that support, the judge was like, okay, so what's the problem?
Ah.
And I never understood none of that stuff until now. Until now, I can just sit back and look back. But um, uh,
So at 28, you had your son. That's your only child?
that's my only child.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell y'all this. I don't know if even at the point at 45, this last time that I got in trouble, if I was ready to stop. What really made me stop was I went to court, I got in trouble, and it was so petty, right? It was the bottom of a misdemeanor of a misdemeanor of a misdemeanor,
Right.
right? And so I'm used to it now. I know the drill. I know all that stuff, right? I had just rented me a bomb ass house in Upper Marlboro,
Mm-hmm.
bought my car. He's 16 at the time, right? And he's driving back and forth to school. He went to Roosevelt,
Mm-hmm.
A1 student, right? And so I get in trouble. Um, and at the time, it was a blizzard, just like it is now. But I had my court date came up in a snowstorm, but so they postponed it. So the next time I went to court, I got me a lawyer. So I'm like, this ain't nothing, right?
Right.
I done worse than this, and came home, right? So I go to court, like, okay, what's up? So my attorney he talks to the prosecutor, and they say, we're just gonna give her 6 months of probation. The charge only carries 6 months. We give her 6 months of probation, and um, she gonna be all right. She ain't been in trouble in like 10, 11 years. She'll be fine, right? So when it came time for them to call my name and stuff, and the judge says, you know, let me tell y'all this: when when they get to reading your stuff down, like your charges,
Mm-hmm.
first of all, what you did that day, and then so they did that, right? And I'm just looking like, me, was that me? Like they ran my whole day down,
Wow.
right? And so, but when I walked in, I felt something, and when I heard the lady, she was locking people up for
For what? Your volume went out.
she was locking people up for traffic tickets.
Oh,
So I knew she was gonna be
you
a beast.
knew she was coming for you.
I knew it,
Mhm.
and so they did all that part. So she asked the prosecutor what he thought or what he was going to do, what his suggestion was for me. Right? He said 6 months of probation.
Mhm.
She said, well, you do know that I don't have to go by, what you suggest, right? So they said, they like whatever the verbiage is that they used, they understood what she was saying and blah blah blah. So anyway, she told the bailiff, cuff her and let me look at her record. Right
Oh Lord.
now, I'm crying out of control now. So they took me in the back, and the guy was like, "Don't worry about it. This is just how she is. She do this with everybody. You're gonna be fine." Blah blah blah. Right? He asked me when the last time you been in trouble. I said it's been like 10 years. No, you'll be fine, right? But I know my record.
Yeah.
Right? And so uh, they called me back out, and when they called me back out, um, she said to me, she said, we all, when we wake up in the morning, we all have choices, right? And we all have decisions that we make. And when you woke up this morning, you made a choice, right? And she said, so now you're gonna have to suffer the consequences. And long and short, she gave me the whole 6 months in the jail, right?
Mm.
And so I'm thinking, okay, well, can I get home and get my son together and turn myself back in? Because that used to be a thing. And she was like, no, you're going to go today.
Now, Paul, your son's 16.
Yeah.
What did he think your career was?
Well, that's another whole something. So as a young child, he never
Okay.
knew, right? But as he's, as a teenager, they nosy, they
Yeah,
inquisitive.
exactly. That's why I said he's 16. What does he think his
And,
mama doing?
and that boy had
Mm-hmm.
everything, right? And so he knew exactly what was going on at that age.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
And but I never missed a beat, right? Basketball game, every football game, every basketball game I was there.
Okay.
Everything I was there. So he didn't I don't well, at the time I didn't think he put much thought into it, right? Because
Right.
I was always there.
Probably didn't.
Um, and so, and when I was getting locked up and he was younger, he would be staying with his dad and my mom and like that. So he never really missed the beat, really, right? Um, but so at this age, so anyway, she locked me up,
Mm-hmm.
and when they give you like a little phone call or whatever. So when I called him from there, um, that's the that's the moment that I decided
Mm.
I was finished. In that moment. And so he was just like, Mom, what happened? Because we had already had a conversation, and I was like, I'm gonna be good. This is small. This ain't nothing, right?
Right.
And so that's the moment that I said I was done, because his voice was just like, it was a lot. It was a
I
lot.
can imagine. I'm sitting here just trying to imagine what that phone call was like for you. And that's your only one. And sometimes, Kahlia, I believe in my soul that God gave you him because God knew when the timing was going to happen. He knew how old he was going to be when this happened. And God knew that your son was going to be the one to save your life. And when I say save your life, I don't mean save your life from death. I mean save your life from the train wreck that you had been on for all of those years, being addicted to that life. Baby, what we will do the things that our children well up inside of us, the things that we will do for our kids, God knew that. That was a pivotal moment for you. You never ever wanted to have to call your child again and tell him no shit like that.
Mm-mm.
And that's the moment you realize, I can't do this no more.
And those were the exact words I said.
I can't. I never want to have to call him and tell him this shit ever again.
Yeah, it was hard. And
Mm. Mm.
the amount of time that I ever had to do was that, and that was the hardest.
Mm.
Hard. It was hard. And then
Mm.
this lady was so terrible, but not terrible. I'm not mad at her decision because I really needed it, right? But I just had never encountered a judge like her. She was something. And so I don't know if you know, but in Maryland, um, in most states, if you get time, if it's not fed, you might do like 30%. So I did like 2.5 months at the jail, and then I wrote her, right, to see they had just built like a new halfway house, like right across the street from up Marlboro.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wrote her to ask her, basically, could I, you know, get interviewed for the halfway house, right? I explained everything all about my son and all that. She never responded, right? So what? So now I'm just moving through the system like, oh well, ain't nothing I can do about it, right? So I got me a little job in the kitchen, right? And one morning they called me and said I had to go to court, right? So I'm so worried, like, what the hell, what they find now? Because I know what I had been living like,
Right.
right? So I'm like, what now? Just like, just leave me alone. Y'all done gave me the time, just leave me alone, right? So they get me up early in the morning, like 5 in the morning, shackle you all up, handcuff you down, take you down, and sit you in this cold ass hold cell, right, and wait for them to call you. Most times it's like 8 hours, right?
Oh.
But this time they called me they called me right away. So I go up there and see the judge. When I got up there, it was a whole different judge, right? A black guy.
Oh.
He said um, to see if you could get the halfway house or whatever, and he asked. I don't remember who it was, like what my performance was in the jail and what I was doing. And he saw me in white, so he already knew I was working in the kitchen. That was like a thing, right? So anyway, he went on and said he granted the halfway house to me, right? So I go to the halfway house the next day. I call my son, like, they let me go to the halfway house. We was all happy about that, right? So I go to the halfway house. Child, the halfway house, they got me cutting grass, doing all kind of stuff, right? So I'm there now for like maybe a month, almost 2 months. Now that's like I'm like 4 months in. I only got 6 months, and you get like a time off for that, two good days, and all that stuff, right?
Right.
Um, so one day I was out cutting grass, and they called me like, Robson, you gotta go back to the halfway house, and I'm like, for what? And I know what that is because I've seen it happen to other people. When they call you back, something's
Right.
ready to go down, right?
Right.
They call me back, but now I'm in good with everybody because my personality is what it is, right? So they were like, you got a warrant. So I'm like, for what? Right? How can I have a warrant? I say, where? What county? And they like PG County. I'm saying, how? If I'm in y'all custody? Because in the halfway house, you taking urines, you
Everything.
everything, right? And I ain't getting
Right.
drugs for that. I knew that wasn't the case. So they said, well, don't worry about it. We're gonna take you over to the judge's chambers, right? So they put me in their car, drove me to the judge's chambers. They went in there and talked to the lady. She did lift the warrant, right? She tried to say I had a failure to appear. Well, I'm in y'all custody, so when did I have to go to
Right.
court, right? So anyway, she lifted the warrant, and she gave me a new court date. The court date was after my release date, right? So boom, I get released or whatever that date was. I should know it, but I don't. So I got released, and maybe about 2 months later, I had to go to court. So now my nerves all over the place again,
Right.
because I don't want to look at this lady no more, right? I'm working now. I'm good, right? So anyway, I go to court, and she's like, Miss Robertson. She said, I gave you 6 months, right? I said, yes, Your Honor. She said, but you didn't do 6 months. You did so and so amount of days. So now I'm like, I got to speak up for myself now, because like now you playing.
Yeah.
So she's like, I said, Your Honor, with all due respect, I don't make the laws, and I didn't break out of jail.
All right.
Right? I did my time to whatever date they said I was supposed to do, and I got released. And she said, what did she say? She said, hey, hold on 1 second. She told the clerk to call the jail. They called the jail to see what my release date was. Well, all that's in your on the docket
On
is
the
all in
docket.
everything, right? So I didn't care because I knew I had done nothing wrong. So anyway, they gave it a release date. She said, okay, so you did a total of whatever amount of days. And I said, okay. And she said, but that's not 6 months, right? So this lady took a whole break. When she took the break, I went call my son, and he's like, what now? Like, do you need me to come up there or what? And
Right.
so I said, no, I think I should be all right. So when I go back in, she had done all her homework. She told me how many times, because when I was in the halfway house, he was coming to see me every day. After basketball practice, he was coming to the halfway house, right?
Okay.
Um, she said, I heard all about your son. He's a good kid. He's an honor roll kid. I heard how, all about how good you were doing in the halfway house. Because at this point, I'm ministering to the girls and everything in the halfway house, right?
Oh.
And so she's like, I heard all about this and that. And she said, and I'm not going to see you in this courtroom no more. And I said, no, ma'am. And she said, so you shouldn't have a problem doing a year probation. Well, isn't that double jeopardy or something? Whatever that law is, because I done done my time,
Right.
right? So, but I'm just, at this point, I'm like, okay, God, this going to be what it's
This
going to
what
be.
that's right.
So I just went on and was like, okay, I'll do the
And
probation.
what does that
And
mean? Like probation, you didn't have to go back to jail, right? You
no, so she gave me an unsupervised, what they call unsupervised probation. So I really didn't have to report to nobody
okay.
except initial
You just
time.
had to not get in trouble and not do dumb stuff.
And
Okay.
child, I ain't jaywalked since, right? So,
I'm proud of you.
and my goal, I got two like big goals. I want to write a book, and I want to, just be able to go into the prisons and just help the girls learn something. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't got to live crazy just to get a dollar,
Yes.
right?
Right.
So,
You got so much to give back to those young girls. They need you.
real bad.
Because you know why I say that, Kahlia? Because they are in a situation where they're not going to listen to a lot of other people. They would listen to you. You know why? Because you lived that shit. You
Yeah,
did that.
a lot.
Different when you can get someone to listen
Mm,
to listen to you that has gone through it.
yeah.
So
And
when
it's
you're able to speak
hard.
and tell them, yeah, you've been through all of that. You've been through it.
Because when you have kids, you deal with so much guilt, right? That's really if I didn't have no child, I'll be good. But what I really uh, am blessed to be able to talk about and really thank God about is that He really kept my boy's mind. Like, he did not repeat the cycle. That's really
Yeah.
what, like, makes me keep going, right? because he went to school for a fashion program. When I tell y'all, I sold all that name brand shit is gone. I don't have none of it. Maybe a thing or two, right? But his tuition was $60,000. He got half of that in an academic scholarship. I'm a single mother, and I put him through college legally.
Oh man.
So, and now he's a uh, uh, celebrity stylist and a model. Got his own apartment in New York, and he's doing good. He's doing good.
Look at God. Look at God's grace and mercy. You went through a lot of shit that you now, and a lot of it we got to say that you brought on yourself. You know, we're keeping it
Of course,
1,000. You went through a lot though.
a lot.
God allowed you to do it. God, you know, he gives us free will. He
And,
lets us make our own choices.
yeah,
But he took care of you though, Kahlia. Look at you now.
yeah, he did.
You know that?
Yeah,
Even in and out of jail, he still showed you grace and mercy because you could have gone through a lot of other crazy shit in and out of jail.
and I really did. It's just not time for all that. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? It's a
It's
lot.
in the book.
It is a lot. But that's like,
We're gonna put all of that in the book.
yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
we're gonna put that in the book.
Yeah,
So you're gonna change your speech from "I want to write a book." You're gonna change it, and you're gonna say, "I'm about to start working on writing a book."
yeah.
Just say it. Speak it the right way.
And you know, that's hard too, because I have started, but it's a lot to even put down on the paper. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot.
Well, if you need somebody to help you through that, I'll type it while you talking it. You know what I mean?
Uh,
And if you need a resource to help you get into these prisons, the youth, especially these young teenage girls, I have someone that can help with that too. We are all in this life, this last leg of life together. We got to show people the right way,
yeah.
and God uses people like you more than anybody. And if you ever get to a point where you're open to reading about some of the stuff in the Bible, in the Old Testament, every last one of them, Kahlia, that he chose to use went through Hell, or they were hell. They were either hell or they went through hell. But
That's
he uses those types of people. He'll use a prostitute to gather other people. He will use people like you to bring other people to him.
yeah.
Because there's no way that you could be looking the way you look right now, have a son doing the things that he's doing right now. There's no way that's possible for a woman to have been in and out of prison from 16 to 45 if there's not a God, if it's not real. If he's not real, there's no way that you would be sitting on the other side of this Instagram, whatever this thing is, looking the way you look if God wasn't real. So that's why he's able to use you more than he can use someone who's never even gone through none of that stuff you went through. That's why I have this platform, because God uses people who have been tested and who have gone through stuff. God uses people who made bad decisions to show that even when you make bad decisions, if you belong to him, he got you anyway. He gonna let you go through it. You're gonna suffer some consequences,
Oh, for sure.
but he ain't gonna let the enemy keep you. He ain't gonna let him have you. And you are the receipts for that. What I just said, y'all, she's the receipt for what I just said. God did not let the enemy have her. He tried it from age 16 to 45. He tried. But God said, your time is up, sir. Give her to me. Give her to me.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you. I'm so freaking proud of you. I am. I am so proud of you. When I heard you, because I'm a mother, and when I heard you say, Terry, when I had to call him, that was the moment that God said, never again, no more. I'm so thankful for your journey. I had no idea what I was going to hear tonight. I didn't know. Just so y'all know, I did not know her story.
Yeah, we never talked about it.
Never talked about it. I had no idea what I was going to be in for tonight. I'm so grateful for your journey. I'm so grateful for your transparency, your braveness. Look at you. You did it. How you feel?
Child. It's a lot every time I tell it, though. It's a lot.
It's a lot. But each time you tell it, does it relieve a little bit more?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
It gets easier, too.
it's
It gets
liberating. It gets easier. Wait till you start seeing in real time the lives that you're going to start changing. Wait till you see that. That's going to be the next level of your healing, your journey. You're still healing, and I can see it and I can feel it, and I love that. I love to see that God is really now, you have allowed him to start taking over. And I love that. I really do. He never took his hands off of you. He never did. Look at you. I'm so proud of you. And I'm so glad, that I feel like, in life, there are divine connections, right? And when we first met, Kahlia, it just wasn't the time for you to do it. So
I agree.
we don't even have to say she backed out no more. God is about timing. And if for whatever reason, it wasn't the right timing. But today was. I'm so proud of you, girl. You did it.
Yeah.
And this is just the scratching of the surface.
Yeah.
Like you said, the trauma that you endured in and out of those facilities over the course, how many years is that? 16 to 45. Whose math is good today? 16, 26, 36. It's almost 30 years of your life you were in and out of the system. And I know that there are some traumatic things that occurred that we couldn't even get to that. But you're going to do a book. And when you're ready to sit down for part 2 of your Trauma to Triumph, we're going to do that too. Okay.
All right.
We end this together. I'm so proud of you. I wish I didn't get your hug. I'm hugging you. Yes. And I want my sea moss. Okay, before we get off, this lady has gone through so much, y'all. But praise God, look at her now. These stories are stories where we can say at the end, but look at her now. Look at her now. Can you tell everybody what you're doing right now in life and how they can support anything that you're doing? Tell them how they can support you. Whatever you want to tell them right now before we wrap things up.
So, as hard as it is to find a job when you're a felon, right? I have 3 jobs because you got to turn the hustle into
the
point. Right? You just can't go out like nothing.
You've been hustling all your life. All you're going to do is just turn it over to the legal side.
You got to. So I work with individuals with disabilities right now. Some have been in the system, and a lot of them have been in the system, and some of them haven't. But so I'm doing that at all three jobs, um, and I'm in Total Life Changes. Uh, I sell candy cleanse. Y'all know that. Most of y'all that's on here know that. I have a line called Curvy Gal Fit. Um, and so, y'all know y'all can find me on Kahlia.Robertson on all the platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
Yes.
Um, and I also have a CMOS um, that I make. Prior to that, though, for years, I had a company called Juice Love. I used to make juices, but the money wasn't fast enough, so I didn't stay in that.
Okay.
But I am very much so in on a health and wellness journey. I've lost over 100 pounds. Uh,
Really?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
If you go to my page, you'll see all the.
I'll see the journey. I'm gonna go. Yes, I want to see that. Okay, good.
Um,
Someone says they can't wait to try your sea moss. Yes, yes.
so, you I'm very much into health and wellness. My brother passed from cancer at
Oh.
41. I don't really like to say cancer. I really like to say, he wouldn't change his lifestyle, his eating
Mm.
habits, stuff. That stuff is in the foods we eat, what we consume, and he wouldn't change. So, he got cancer. He went to remission for 2 years, I think, and eventually he passed. Very young, 40,
Mm.
married with two
That was
kids.
your older brother, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah. So that's what I'm doing, working like a slave, but it's all right.
That's all right.
It's
That's
all
all right. You doing what you need to do. And I'm so proud of you. I know if so many people on here that's been cheering for you and saying how proud they are of you. And yeah, you're gonna keep going.
I'm
You're
gonna
gonna
keep
keep
going.
going. I'm not gonna let you not get that book done, though. I'm gonna hold
I'm
you
gonna do it.
accountable.
I have written, believe it or not, I've written a lot. But when you get to certain points, you just
Yeah,
relax for
I
a
know.
minute.
I got like 270 some typed pages of a book of my life, and I'm like you, and I have to hold my own self accountable because it needs to be out. I need to get it
Yeah,
done. And I've gone back and forth in my mind and in my spirit about different things about it. Then I'm like, oh, I don't want to put this book out until my dad is gone, because I don't want my dad to hear some of the stuff that I've gone through, because my father is a very protective type of guy. And him at 96 years old, he would still be like, what? And so I'm like, I don't want my dad to know some of the things that, you people put me through.
yeah.
Um,
That with my mom. She like I would get in trouble and she wouldn't know until I had been there for weeks.
mhm, mhm.
Cause you don't want to stress her out. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Especially as she got older, I got older, she got older. It's like, she don't need to know.
Are your parents still living?
They
They
are
are.
70.
Really? Wow. You still have both of them alive. Wow. Are they still together?
I, I say yeah, they say no, but because my mom, she don't know nothing else but that man.
That
They've been
man.
together since 17.
Wow.
I say yeah, but she be like, girl, but yeah.
I'm so proud. Your story is so amazing. Oh, okay, y'all. This was so good tonight. Y'all, thank y'all so much for tuning in tonight, hanging in there with us in the beginning with our technical difficulties. I'm gonna edit that front part out, y'all. So, I'm gonna have a YouTube link to share with you all in about tomorrow. And but this Instagram live will stay up anyway. So all you gotta do is you can skip through the beginning and get right to the good part. tonight was so good. It was so good. Kahlia, you're an amazing woman. You're resilient. You're brave. You know what I mean? You are brave. And I just can't wait to just continue to get to know you more. And I'm sure there are things that we'll be able to do to help each other.
Yeah.
So, and I want my sea moss.
Yeah. Call me when this is over.
It's too snowy out there. But you know what? I also
Let the people know what you did.
have you ever been to a live show at Spotlight Over the City?
I have not.
You need to come.
I
It's
do.
so fun. It's a good time.
I've
I'll
been
make sure
thinking
we'll talk about that offline.
Okay.
Okay.